future. And the more you start expanding your awareness of this moment that we are living in every moment, the next step you take is where you create your future.
Yeah.
And the more you bring that vibration in, the more you attract the things that you resonate with. The more you step into fear and anguish and worry, the more you bring that into your life. It literally, if I want to say the word universe, the quantum field, whatever it is, we are made of vibration and light, mostly. Yeah. The more you step into a frequency and resonate at it, the universe says, well, clearly that's what you want, so I'm going to give you more of it.
Yeah.
So it literally is a shift to understanding that we're creating a higher frequency dimension, and the physical world takes time to catch up, but it comes into your life.
Yeah. What a last year. I was thinking this morning. I started the podcast roughly about a year ago, and that's also when I had the episode with you, our first episode, and how much the last year has changed. It's been one of the craziest years of my whole life. Podcast has come a long way, and getting to sit down with you again today is awesome, because it's a whole next step in the evolution of my journey and my future journey with you. So it's been a crazy last year. I've learned a lot specifically from you, and excited about the future and all the things to continue learning. So I'm excited to have you back on the show. We can share some more insightful stuff, and privileged to have you in my life as a mentor, Stuart, so thanks.
Well, we all mentor each other.
Yeah.
Because we're always learning from each other.
100%.
We all bring things into this world that we're connected to or we resonate with, and we can all learn and share. Yeah. That's what it's about. It's about serving each other and, making this place a better place to live.
Yeah.
And the more we share, the more we create the consciousness of giving and serving, and then creating that place where we are in abundance, I guess. I don't want to use the word the money or the capitalism, but abundance in everything, including being able to all make a living and to live good lives. But we have to stop holding, we have to let go and share.
100%. And with the craziness of the last year and all these things that have been going on, and there's been a lot of fear, and you've helped me step through that fear. I think we've been on we were in a similar career before this, and stepping through that fear and being able to share and learn from others just can become an exponential thing that just, your life can change. And I'm excited. I'm so excited for the future.
Well, like we had the last podcast, the first one with you, was more about health and detoxing and, getting the benefits of having a cleaner body and what it does for you. Your immune system, the fact that you don't get sick that much anymore, the fact that you just feel like more connected. So I guess this journey in the last year for all of us has been a very rocky roller coaster emotionally. And fear, literally, as hard as these things come at us, and where you're getting your information from, if you're watching the news or you've disconnected from it and you're trying to just build some creation and look after your health and your well-being and that of your families during this crazy time. For me, ultimately, to step out of the crazy negative emotions like fear and anxiety and looking at the doom and gloom of what a lot of people are seeing at the moment. And I think that the more you step out of fear and the more you move forward and explore the possibilities and, back it with courage and resilience and, just being inquisitive and opening your mind and listening to everyone's story instead of just the one narrative of what's going on. You start to realize that there's many more opportunities in this world, and that you don't have to live in that frequency of the fear or the narrative that's been sold to us. I guess it's about still respecting other people's point of view, and if they believe something, you respect it, but you move through and around the things that are no longer serving you. And you literally start creating a life that's is unimaginable even in the crazy times.
Yeah.
And it's that release of the fear that really makes a difference.
Yeah.
And it's not about just speaking it or thinking it, it's about really embodying it into your whole life, bringing it in at every level and feeling it. It's deep in the emotion where we, I think, really heal. And whether it starts with detoxing and eating healthier and exercising and just bringing more healthy sort of choices into our life, we then get to the level of what we're going to chat today is the microdosing.
Yeah.
Is how it helps to regenerate the biochemistry, rebalance it, the neurochemistry, backing up all the healthy things we do with our diet and exercise, and starts making us to feel our real emotional states again.
Yeah.
And being able to then discern whether you want to live in that state or not. Because I think we were so deeply pulled into the world, especially where we were working for a big corporate, and being on the treadmill and running at the time frame that they gave us and compressed us into those schedules, where your whole life is just schedule, run, schedule. You can't think anymore. You can't feel anymore. It's when I disconnected and through this coronavirus where you literally, where I thought I was being healthy and living this life and doing in the little time that we had outside of the schedules, is the exercise and the eating healthy and trying to do things that I really enjoyed and resonated with, but they were so few and far between. And because we're so busy, we have very little time to sit down and be or experience quietness for a few hours or meditate or be in the present moment or just do something beautiful like walk in nature. And it's in those times that we all were, I guess, in the last year with the lockdowns, had the time to just slow down, step out of that insanity, the craziness of chasing time, and being able to feel who we really are again, and then feeling emotionally like where we're at. And the microdosing is a way of rebooting the system in a very subtle, gentle way to be able to feel again, experience who we are, and to reconnect deeply through the biochemistry and the neurochemistry, and deeper than that, is this what we're doing serving us or not? And the microdosing is healing us at that level where we can use it to get to a point in our lives where we don't even need that anymore. We can do it endogenously, but we have to learn, and it's a beautiful teacher.
100%. So on that note, I was thinking just now when you were chatting, our first podcast, and we're chatting about health, and I think it all boils down to health, fundamentally, with everything. But then what I've realized throughout my life now is there's so many different levels to health. And, you can look at the food and you can look at all these different things, but the emotional states, and I've learned that from you, is where it's at, and vibration and environment. And sometimes the environments, like specifically that we were in, isn't exactly, the best place to be for your overall health. And you said something in the first podcast that I'll never forget, and it's suppose not much more relevant now than ever, and it was, if you haven't been sick for the last 5 years, and you look after your health in every aspect, you don't have to live in fear, you don't have to take a vaccine, you don't have to do these things. And with the different levels of health, the topic that I want to chat to you about today obviously is microdosing, because it's a different, I suppose, area of health, but it's one of the most powerful things that's changed my life. It's changed Tara's life, and I think it's gaining more traction. People are speaking about microdosing, and it's a bit more, people are curious. So I want to put this conversation out there to shed some more light on the topic, and for those who don't know, maybe we should start at the beginning. Like, what is microdosing? In your perspective, how would you explain it to somebody who's not familiar with the concept?
So where we started with the podcast, just about feeling who we really are. Who are we? The
big question.
Have been so driven in this world before, and this reset, if you want to call it, the time that most of the world has been in lockdowns on and off.
Just on a note, I was thinking now, When we did the podcast last year, I think we were like in level 4. We're back in level 4 a year
again.
later. It's insane.
Yeah, it's always going to get better.
Yeah.
It's
Waves.
the big question we all ask is like, if we could be the fly on the wall and what's really going on in the world. But it'll all reveal itself eventually.
Yeah.
But prior to lockdowns, the world was, really moving at a rapid pace, and industries and companies and careers and everyone, like, really, it was incredible. I think quite an incredible time for humanity because there was so much possibility. And the problem is that we weren't grounded. We weren't listening to what was really going on inside of us. A lot of people burning themselves out, not understanding really what it's about. Success and career and money is only a small frequency or possibility of measuring success. But what is the most important thing in the world? I often ask people, what is the most important thing to you? So if you really want to be here in this physical reality, this dimension, to be here you have to have a healthy body, a healthy system. And it is an incredible technology, and I guess we're not really been made too much aware of how this thing heals, how it regenerates, how it repairs, how it serves us so beautifully. We've put it on autopilots and we've focused everything on making money and careers and buying things and externalizing our creation and outsourcing it, basically.
Giving our power away.
And meanwhile, we haven't focused on the basics. And it does seem sometimes when you start learning about healing and repairing, regenerating, reconnecting, a little bit obsessive to some people. But it's basically, it's like starting something new. You have to put a lot of work into it, whether it's diet or exercise or microdosing or meditation or reconnecting or deep medicine journeys or whatever it may be that you decide to detoxing, to heal and reconnect. But in doing that, it eventually becomes part of you. It becomes like habits, like brushing your teeth, going to work in your car. It's like things that are just seamless. So the work initially seems like overwhelming, but eventually, as you do it step by step by step, it just integrates and it goes on in the background, like eating breakfast, making coffee. You're just doing these beautiful interactions to eat healthy, repair, fix, detox, exercise, have fun. But you're doing them because you know that they're healing us, and intrinsically we need them to become better versions of ourselves. So, yeah, it's a bit overwhelming in the beginning, but to get back to how the microdosing is going to help in that is in being more quiet and more silent and more connected without all the craziness in the world. I realized that what I thought I was feeling inside, because I was doing a lot of the work on the outside, like the exercise and the dieting and some of the medicine journeys and doing a lot of growth and work, but I was doing it at fast pace, like still living in the crazy fast-paced world before Corona came. And, often listened to podcasts and read articles and spoke to people about like proper meditation and quiet time and time to integrate all the stuff we learn. But was always so excited that I was going full tilt into the next thing, and thinking that I'm really, really healing. But it was only the time when we were forced to be quiet that I actually realized that, yeah, I've shifted a lot and I've healed a lot. But deep inside of me, you could say that I had a lot of emotional healing to catch up on. Meaning there was still listening too much to the fear and the craziness and the things that were going on that were really negative, and the mainstream narrative that is constantly in your face was affecting me still a lot. And I've always used microdosing, and I've always, as I've learned over the years with the medicine, what it does, and I've utilized it, but it was probably not something I incorporated into my life as intensely as I have in the last year and a half.
Okay.
And the microdosing, at the same time of having some time to just contemplate life, it just brought out gently all the things that were not serving me? And how to reconnect to that deep emotional space where we are walking through life feeling how we should, not in the negative emotional states of the fear and the frustration and anxiety, and people who are going through depressions and all kinds of things that are pumping. And we spoke about this in the last podcast, the cortisol, and how it shuts us down and puts us into fight or flight. I won't go into too much detail on that, but whenever we experience a negative emotional state, we pump more cortisol, the adrenals are overworked, and in fight or flight, our body can't repair and regenerate. All the energy goes to run away from the threat. And most of us are living in threat that is not real to hurting us. It's all imagined, it's all information that's out there, it's all the fear around getting this virus, it's a lot of things that could be. If we build a strong immune system and we really build our resilience and get ourselves healthy and detox and get rid of the toxicity in our body and move out of the negative emotional space which creates cortisol and go back to the positive emotional space like gratefulness, joy, adventure, excitement, being happy, but really feeling it inside. We go to the serotonin and then the melatonin pathway. So the serotonin in the day, beautiful adjuncts or things to do to boost serotonin is get good sunlight, vitamin D, like in the good times of the day, not burning yourself at midday, but in the early morning and the late afternoons. Good vitamins, minerals, try to detox, get rid of all the processed foods and try and eat as healthy and clean as possible, fresh as possible, juicing. Serotonin levels start boosting up, and then at night time when it gets dark, the retina of our eye picks up as dark, the serotonin is slowly converted to, our body starts making melatonin instead of serotonin. So that is what puts us into that true restorative deep sleep where our body heals at the deepest level. Dream state, your body is literally in repair mode, and we can't do it with cortisol. Even if you try and get out of the stress state when you go to bed, all that cortisol from the whole day is flooding through the system. So this is where being healthy and fit and eating nicely and trying to do those things helps to a point, but we need to start to feel who we are so we can shift the emotional states, because that truly shifts us to serotonin and melatonin. And a lot of us have ended up in this world being on all kinds of chemical drugs to help to get rid of the sharp edges of depression and fear and anxiety. And they have a place to do that, but in the long term, they are basically working on neuroreceptors, which are very, very beautiful sensors in the body, which will help us to measure the chemistry to how we feel, the neuro and the biochemistry. And as I said, if you're living in stress, you've got cortisol, so you're going to feel that fatigue and tiredness and disconnectedness, and things are not in harmony.
Anxiety.
So when you take an antidepressant or an anti-anxiety, you basically it's going to mimic something like serotonin or melatonin, mimic it, not be it, or it's going to switch receptors off so you don't feel it, the cortisol. But what we actually want to do is to become reconnected at the highest level, the level of the heart, be in the heart, out of the head. Cortisol puts us into our head as well. It's constantly overthinking and analyzing, whereas being in serotonin and melatonin puts us back into feeling, being more awareness of the present moment. And in your background, your body's doing all the healing and repairing, like we breathe, like we have all these, like the heartbeats in the background. So if we in serotonin and melatonin, the body's healing in the background without us having to think about it. But to get back into those beautiful endogenous hormones that our endocrine system makes, we really have to start to get the feeling back in those neuroreceptors to be able to sense where we are. So even if we start cleaning them up and doing the repair work in the body and the detoxing, and we start to feel again, even if it is still in the cortisol and in the fear and the anger and the frustration, is now you know at least where you are, and you can start to shift it.
Yeah.
By doing more work and connecting with who we are, by doing more breath work and exercise and meditation and interacting with people who we really resonate with, and reading and watching things that really lift us up instead of just listening to all the craziness that's going on in the world. I mean, it's good to keep yourself up to date, but there's a point where you also need to bring in beautiful information and wisdom into the soul, because it's part of the healing process. And listen to people who've done incredible work, or have got incredible projects, or doing things that are really serving and expanding healing. And healing is not just about healing this body; it's about healing the fractured society, healing the world, healing the environment. It's just
it expands.
There's so much to learn that can uplift you.
Yes.
Getting fit and healthy, making a project of, getting your body in the shape where once you've got this right, you can go out into the world and interact at a higher level.
Yeah.
So the microdosing is basically going to help very slowly and gently to clean the neuroreceptors, to clean and rebalance, get you out of the fight or flight. So the HPA axis, the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis, to reset that's like the master glands. So like breath work, like cold water plunging, like meditation, like exercise, can all reset that HPA axis. Things like Cambo medicine, the frog medicine, resets it. So the microdosing with the different modalities in the plant medicines will slowly reset that and give you the feeling of serotonin again. At the same time, cleaning the neuroreceptors. Some of the microdosing, like the Iboga, is actually cleaning and repairing the neuroreceptors. Some of the microdosing, like Scaletium, is boosting your serotonin and melatonin and Iboga, and making you feel that lift again, like you really are enjoying being again. Puts you more back in that present moment, gives you more this heart connection, giving you neurogenesis, especially Scaletium and Iboga. Things like lion's mane, building neural pathways. Iboga giving you the ability to build and repair neural pathways. Iboga being able to pull heavy metals like aluminium, lead, and mercury out of your neural pathways, out of your brain. Just doing incredible repair work. Going into the heart muscle is not just there. The heart is not just there to pump blood. I mean, the heart is in a massively powerful electromagnetic field. Iboga being able to work in those cells where that electromagnetic field has to, those neurites that create them, to do repair work there. It's incredible what Iboga can do on neural pathways and things that are there to create beautiful electromagnetic fields. Cleaning the liver, detoxing the liver, helping to support it, going into the other organs, doing work in the organs, going into each cell in our body. I mean, you've got 40 trillion cells that make up our body, and each cell has 100,000 receptors on it, little doorways. Those are receptors that allow oxygen into a cell, water into a cell, nutrients into a cell, and then the waste materials that are going out, like the carbon dioxide and uric acid and whatever else is built up that it needs to go. And over a lifetime of living in fight or flight and cortisol,
and bad food and shit.
bad food full of chemicals and toxins, especially the processed foods, and then going into acidity as well, because a lot of the foods that not processed food is acidic, but eating foods that are heavy, like heavy carbohydrates and a lot of meat, takes a lot of breaking down to get to the nutrient level. So our own enzymes in our stomach that are boosted up to break through acidity, to break that food down. Over a lifetime of eating like that, we also become acidic, and we're alkaline beings. And one of the things that will drop very quickly when we go acidic is our immune system, because it needs an alkaline environment. As soon as you're alkaline, your immune system goes through the roof.
I read something once that there was in every single terminal case of cancer patient, there was not one who was alkaline. They were all acidic.
Acidic.
It just shows that cancer grows in an acidic,
Acidic environment. So most disease, something, you know, but before we get sidetracked into that, I was just going to finish with the receptors on the cells. So this acidity and the toxicity that we take in from food and what we drink and what goes through our skin, what we breathe, and then our own endogenous cortisol, which is very toxic and acidic. It has a place for short bursts of protecting ourselves, but over long periods of time within our body, it's a destructive, it's acidic and toxic to us. And so those things basically start over the years breaking down that little cell. The communication of the cell gets slowly distracted and distorted. They're not, all those 40 trillion cells are supposed to be working in harmony and synergistically with each other. That gets fragmented, and the little receptors that take in the oxygen and the water and everything, get rid of the waste materials, get blocked up.
Yeah.
So these microdoses help to repair and clean those receptors. So it gets the cell detoxed. It gets beautiful, clean material into the cell. It gets the mitochondria firing, which is the little energy batteries of each cell that powers us up, really.
Yeah.
So at a whole, the microdosing is just supporting us at a cellular level, at a detox level, at an organ level, cleaning and repairing hearts and liver and other organs, cleaning and flushing the brain, cleaning the neuroreceptors, which sense through our mood, through chemistry, and rebalancing, getting us back into serotonin gently. It's not like a bang. You have to be disciplined to do the work.
Yeah.
That's why it's microdosing. If you go and do macro, the big medicine journeys, the deep ones, the ayahuascas and the ibogas and the mushrooms, where you deep diving and you're doing a lot more work quicker. Microdosing is going to support that after doing those deep journeys, but it's also going to, for someone who doesn't really want to do that deep dive, just help them to do the work slowly and gently.
Yeah.
So in a sense, we've spoken a lot about the physical and emotional connections, but through understanding where we are emotionally, through moving into the high emotional states, shifting through our diet and exercise and mindfulness and just trying to do the work, because you can't just outsource it and say, here's a magic pill. But then bringing in the microdosing to shift it into feeling more who we are again and rebalancing everything in the physical body, we start to connect more in the high emotional states through our endogenous serotonin and melatonin. So we connect more to source or to each other. The cells are communicating your body as in harmony. So the communication aspect of being able to access those higher states with understanding our connection with each other, with this world, through the heart, through our connection to spirituality, you'll become intrinsically more, you could say, connected to being a spiritual being, because you're just working in higher frequency.
Yeah.
And the higher the emotional state goes, the higher that frequency, the higher the serotonin, the higher the melatonin.
Yeah. Like snowballs.
Snowballs. And eventually you don't need the microdosing. And you might need it at times under periods of high workload or stress where you can bring it back into your life. But if you get to a place where you really are flowing through life and you've done the work and you've got your emotional states, it's like a radio tuner. As you tune the radio to the higher frequency, that high emotional state, so the strength of your connection, your biochemistry, your neurochemistry, your serotonin, melatonin production just goes through the roof. Remember, melatonin is powerful antioxidant. It washes through the body at night. It reconnects us to the blueprint in our DNA that is really what it's supposed to be doing. So it's basically regenerating at the cell level. It's taking us into deep dream state. It's if the pineal gland is not calcified, you are basically through the pineal gland, where the melatonin and the serotonin is basically given to us through that. It also can, at the higher spiritual or frequency levels, the little crystals in it that rub together bring in the information that you are willing to believe in and willing to accept in your life to flow and be brought into a chemical communication in the melatonin, which is then washing through your body and just upgrading you and telling you where you are and what is possible. And the physical body takes time it's always a lag to upgrade, to detox, to clean to the level that you are bringing in. And this is what microdosing opens us to, because we are becoming more understanding of the incredible beings that we are. And it's a very, very subtle, gentle approach, but it goes exponentially as we get the hang of it.
Yeah, I think the power of microdosing can't be overestimated, because it becomes a whole way of being in the world, like in a more expanded awareness. And the spiritual aspect for me is fascinating, and we can go down many rabbit holes with that. But if I think back to last year, with the lockdowns and the stress and the chaos and all these things, you can eat right, you can exercise. But we've chatted obviously about cortisol a lot, and realizing that state of being, that anxiety, that microdosing was such an amazing tool for me last year. And it allowed me to step out of the fear, to get connected and feel present, and when we could be in nature, and it allowed me to expand my awareness and get into more of a flow state. And I know they've actually shown scientifically that it shuts down, it dampens the default mode network in your brain, which is responsible for anxiety and all these things if it's overactive. So the microdosing is so powerful in that way. It allows you to get into these flow states, which are like a higher consciousness connected space, where your whole understanding of life starts to shift. And it's very subtle, but it's a sub-perceptual dose of these plants, which what still blows my mind is that some people view it as a drug, but these plant medicines are actually helping people get off drugs and helping people with a variety of things. And that's the thing, they're so multifaceted in what they can do. I know you've worked with so many people, and you guys have healed so many people, and the shifts that you must have seen in people's lives must be quite incredible with the microdosing work.
It is incredible. Yeah. And we've been speaking a lot of the technical terms and spiritual terms and connections, but at a basic level, microdosing can help people to, even before they have detoxed or changed their diets or become healthy. Obviously, the more you detox and clean your diet, the more you feel the microdosing.
Yeah.
Because your receptors are cleaner and everything is just got heightened.
Yes.
So at the same time, the microdosing is helping to detox and clean. So as you progress with it, you feel it more, and it's not in your face. It's not like you feel it. You're constantly in your body. You're constantly in your normal state of mind. You're just in a higher vibration, a higher emotional state. So you can do everything normally. You can do your work. You can drive your car. You can do everything. It's like taking a pharmaceutical antidepressant. They don't stop you doing your day-to-day things.
Yeah, you're meant to carry on living your life while you microdose. And that's the beautiful thing. For me, it just becomes a really good day, the microdosing. And that's the simplest way to put it. It makes your days awesome, and you go to bed like, wow, it's been a good day.
So as you say, there's a lot of people we've helped will got benefit from the microdosing. So again, as in the beginning earlier, we discussed how the chemical drugs can stabilize, but over a long term, they block receptors, which blocks how we feel, or they mimic like serotonin or melatonin, which is not, then it's putting your endocrine system under pressure, because if your body is not needing to produce it, it eventually becomes lazy. So your natural serotonin, melatonin is going to be suppressed. So once somebody who's going through a really tough time has used the chemicals that are mimicking or shutting down, why not use something that cleans, repairs, and reconnects and boosts your natural bioneurochemistry? Doesn't mimic, doesn't copy, and is not going to harm you. It's not going to cause your body to become lazy. So you can get off the chemicals, and you can become the plants boost and teach and clean and repair. So they're never going to override our system. They will always back up, boost your melatonin, boost your serotonin, your dopamine, your oxytocin, rebalancing, cleaning the receptors. So they're basically there to support and help us to become more wholesome again.
Yeah.
So the people who really put the work in, like people who are really struggling, who've got depression and anxiety and got sleeping issues, can't sleep properly, and worse, people on heavy drugs or addictions, you can really, if they do the work, they start to shift. And we've had people who've come to us in a really bad way, and over 3-6 months, a year, you can't believe some of them. They send us such beautiful messages to say, I can't believe where I was a year ago, where I am in my relationship and my career, where I am just with me and my health. And it's so amazing to see how these things, if they're used properly with the right guidance and care, how they can really shift people and help them.
Yeah.
And from there, what opens up for those people is just magic.
Yeah.
It's just incredible.
No, it is. And these plants have been used for thousands of years by ancient cultures, and they are amazing. They have that recent documentary that came out, Fantastic Fungi. It's so amazing to see these things coming out, shedding light on, for instance, the fungi network and the intelligence that are in these plants that we completely underestimate, and that they can work on such a deep level within us. And like you were saying, even something like, yes, a microdosing has an effect, but it's all the other effects that knock on from that. So for me, I also found I struggle with sleep, a bit stressed out. But so the microdosing helps to reset your body, get that melatonin production going better. Your sleep becomes better. If your sleep's better, you're feeling better. So everything starts to spiral in the right direction. And it's such a phenomenal tool to use in this time and just overall for health. It's amazing. So somebody who's keen to try microdosing and they would like to get a protocol going and figure out a bit more about it, there's obviously different plants that you can microdose, from the various psilocybin mushroom plants to the San Pedro cactuses and even the Iboga root bark. I know the psilocybin is probably the most common one, which has been phenomenal for me. But yeah, how would you recommend to people looking to explore microdosing, where to start and what to look out for?
Well, I think you have to look at, first of all, what the person wants to achieve and where they are, and what are they trying to get off chemicals? Are they trying to get off addictions? Are they just trying to sort of improve their health to the next level? Are they wanting to shift things in their life, like become more creative, more using the imagination, improving their work, improving their relationships? What is it they want to do? Improve their physical health. So something like Iboga is a very, very powerful microdose. It's a very powerful medicine. A lot of plants have, 1 or 2 alkaloids, like psilocybin has the one. It's a very powerful medicine, but Iboga has a lot of alkaloids in it. The main one being ibogaine, but it's got a lot of smaller ones. Yeah. And alkaloids are like the medicine, and it connects to something, a receptor, or does some repair work, or helps to do some kind of work in the physical body. When you've got so many alkaloids, you are in one plant. It's just incredible how much repair work it does. Yeah. So the incredible thing about Iboga is you can't become addicted to it. Yeah. In fact, they use it in the deep journey sense of the ibogaine to break addictions. Yeah,
like heroin addicts who've tried everything, they come and do Iboga, and then it heals them. It's got the highest success rate in addiction recovery.
It's cleaning like a heroin addict will clean the opioid receptors. It will reset them so that they can feel normal on that receptor or those receptors again. That if they ever had to touch heroin again, they'd have to take a lot less because they'll be really resensitized to taking it. And in the same way, Iboga works on all the other receptors to reset them, especially the serotonin ones, which make us feel who we are. Yeah. And understand that hiding how we feel with chemicals is not going to ultimately serve us. So to reset that. At the same time, it detoxes the body deeply at every level, the cellular level. It reconnects the communication through the body. It cleans the liver out. It just does so much of a physical reset, but it's got just such an incredible connection then at the emotional state, and then higher connection to who we are, connecting us, I guess, in the deep journeys where you say that the addicts would come in to do the deep journey. It's taking us into our subconscious mind and rewiring how the brain works and what is serving us or what is not, bringing up traumas, bringing up things that might have caused the addiction, that you have to face it and deal with it. And being able to understand why that trauma made you go down that path of addiction. Where in the microdose sense, it's going to slowly bring in the neural pathways in the brain, and it's going to rewire it and get us more balance in the left and the right. And it's going to clean and decalcify the pineal gland. It's going to just bring that connection to who we are and bring up the traumas slowly, bring up why the addiction slower. So it's more of like a 6 month to a year project as opposed to like the deep dives. But you get there through intuition and feeling and understanding and shifting. So Iboga is so incredible in any microdose protocol to use as like a foundation, because it's doing so much reconnecting, but it's also doing a lot of healing and repairing. The same as scaletium. Scaletium is a very powerful antidepressant if used properly. It lifts your mood, but also does a lot of work in the background, cleaning receptors and detoxing. So if you bring in like a scaletium Iboga foundation, and then you use the other ones that lift us up quicker, like the Psilocybin, within an hour or two of a microdose, you feel that boost emotionally. So it can really pull somebody out of depression. Always. It does have a tendency to highlight anxiety. So somebody who has anxiety can feel sometimes a bit more. But then you can bring in something like San Pedro, which brings us very much into the heart, focuses us,
it's very grounds
us, and you feel the lift of the mood, but then you don't feel, if you have anxiety, you don't get that increased anxiety. You can bring it in, and then slowly as their mood lifts and they shift, to bring in then the psilocybin afterwards, like after a few weeks or months, that they can really start to get the boost in the mood. The thing about, I don't say so much San Pedro, but the thing about psilocybin, your body builds a resistance to it. So you need to, like 2 days on, 2 days off.
It's important to have that break after a few days.
And even the Iboga, it's good to take a break and let your body have you're not taking it every day. And the scaletium, not every day. But because they don't build resistance, especially the Iboga, you can't, and secondly, you don't build addiction to it. You just give your body a break just so that your body can feel its endogenous chemistry and biochemistry and neurochemistry, and then back onto the Iboga. But psilocybin, first of all, does build resistance, so you start to need more to feel the same. That's why you have the on-off. And secondly, of the dosage and the schedule. And then secondly, it can be addictive, because people like that feeling of the lift. But that's why Iboga is so powerful in the background, because it's always helping us not to feel addiction to something. It's helping to suppress and clean and detox, so that we are always hopefully using the other microdoses in a responsible way.
It's also, I think the approach to microdosing is, it's also, you have to have a mindful approach to it, and also incorporate it with a healthy lifestyle, because to get the benefits of the power that these plants have. So being more healthy in the way you live with the microdosing routine is definitely essential. And then addiction, I found that with the more macro doses of these plants, because they are so powerful, and going back to healing and health, and the deep levels of healing, people who are heavily addicted to things, you could always, we were chatting about it this morning, you could trace it back to traumas and things that potentially happened in your childhood and all these things. And these plants allow you to heal those deep traumas, which could be manifesting in issues. So it really allows you to get to the root of some of these addictions and traumas, these plants. And even on a microdose level, it creates a space to have more awareness about why you have certain beliefs or patterns or habits, and it gives you a deeper, like a higher perspective. I found like a space where you can just almost step back and see the bigger picture, and it is for me best explained as a higher spiritual connection to your true self. So these plants have literally changed my life, and I think speaking about it is important because there is still to some degree a bit of a stigma around them, or people don't really know much, so they categorize them as certain things. But I think there's enough science now to actually show that this is not just anecdotal. I think it's very powerful, and everybody's unique as well. So a protocol for you might be different to protocol for me, which I found with people. And but overall, the fundamentals are there that they help everybody with. But I suppose also finding what works for you.
Well, it's fundamental as well to, like, as I said, as you shift and become more connected, and your endogenous hormones and biochemistry is boosted, and you become to understand what it is and like how we feel and how we go through the day. We start to, maybe you don't need that microdose as a crutch. It's there to, it's like a bridge. And it's there sometimes as well if you're having, as I said earlier, difficult times in your life. But the aim is to actually not really need it.
For sure.
And so, but these plants are such beautiful teachers, and if you have somebody to guide you, it's one thing just buying something out of the counter and saying take one of these every day and take a break on day 3 and 4 and then take it again, but you need someone to guide you. And that is fundamental with microdosing, and fundamental with anything in life, I guess, when you're learning, is that if you can sit down and have a conversation or a talk or a phone call or a Zoom call to get somebody to guide you, to walk you through it and give you, sort of like a program. It's very important. But ultimately, I go through, like, I personally don't microdose as much anymore. I do, but I just feel so alive and so connected to my life and everything I'm doing. And I think the real medicine for me is in how we change and shift our life, the action. It's one thing to dream and create and have imagination. It's one thing to believe in something, but it's when you actually start doing it that the real healing comes. And these microdoses have shown me, and medicines have shown me parts of my life and things that I'm capable of that I didn't really intrinsically believe I could do. And it gave me almost like the little nudge or the boost to go and step into it and say, okay, well, I'm going to try this thing. For instance, like, I had a passion to help heal and sort of help people to find a better version of themselves. I haven't been doing that my whole life. It's only more recently that I've been doing it. I did a lot of work on myself for 8-9 years. But now I want to share it. And I was too scared to take that step to go and help to share, like, the microdosing or the medicine journeys, or how to detox your body, or how I've used nutrition to also get me to a point in nutrition that we're not taught. We're not taught it in the schools, we're not taught it in the courses we do. And we're not taught it in the courses and things we take on nutrition. But to share it all, but I didn't have the belief. I thought, no one's going to listen to me. But I guess the little shift emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and everything to do with these medicines made me step into that belief and start to really do it. To initially just try and do the action, and now to expand it. And then that has opened more avenues and more avenues and more avenues. And it's just become a beautiful healing path of adventure, really. And I can say that a lot of it I can attribute to the microdosing and what it's done in my life.
Definitely. I agree 100%. And I think helping heal others is almost like a natural progression of the healing journey. And it's amazing what you, like, if I look back a year ago and I look now where I'm at, and okay, yes, I've done a lot of work with the plant medicines, with the mushroom ceremony and ayahuasca, and the most recent, the Iboga journey, and it's all healing. That's all it is. So these journeys are healing. But eventually, as you progress on this path, you realize, and like with my last experience, it showed me you can help heal. Because at some point you actually want to, this amazing life that you start to live and feel, you will actually want to share that with other people and show them that it's possible to heal and create abundance and live in a society that's actually functional. And the possibilities become endless as you expand your own awareness, realize that you can do more things and help. And so the journey is never ending, and it becomes more exciting.
We basically choose the level we want to live at.
Yeah.
And the more you believe in it, the more you emotionally connect at the higher emotional states, because that frequency is serotonin, melatonin, and healing and regeneration, and connectedness to ourselves through the heart, connectedness to each other, connectedness to this world. And the more you move through that, one can say, frequency or higher level of living and understanding and believing, and the more you focus this mind instead of letting it fracture into all what happened in the past and the future, and the more you start expanding your awareness of this moment that we are living in every moment, the next step you take is where you create your future.
Yeah.
And the more you bring that vibration in, the more you attract the things that you resonate with. The more you step into fear and anguish and worry, the more you bring that into your life. It literally, if I want to say the word universe, the quantum field, whatever it is, we are made of vibration and light, mostly. Yeah. The more you step into a frequency and resonate at it, the universe says, well, clearly that's what you want, so I'm going to give you more of it.
Yeah.
So it literally is a shift to understanding that we're creating a higher frequency dimension, and the physical world takes time to catch up, but it comes into your life.
Yeah.
You still have to do the work. It's not magic. Well,
yes.
It is magic at a level, I guess, but you still have to do the physical doing work, the action, to bring it into your life. And I guess ultimately people will say, well, what course did you do? Or what exams did you write? Or how many years have you been in that industry? Ultimately, all you have to show people is your wins, your gains, your integration of these things into your life. The way you've incorporated them into your life, you're going to show them results.
Yeah.
And if you truly have results that beat all the odds, there's something in it.
Yeah, and actions speak louder than words. The way you live in becomes how you embody. You know, that's people are drawn to that, and, and you can share. And that's it. Just realizing that you can actually create anything you want, and that's the truth. That's the truth. It boils down to vibrations, energy, and create. You can create anything you want, but we live in this limitation mindset where even in the industry that we were in, and I've just stepped out of that now. It's like, okay, well, that's my skill. That's what I can do. But no, I can learn other skills. I can do other things, and it's building that confidence in yourself. Yeah. And these plants have been integral in my journey. So I want to share this, and I want to share it with people because it's a tool that I think can help people on a massive scale.
Well, that old career that we had was skills in a certain sort of industry that you can springboard them, because you never lose those skills. You can just build on them, and you can shift them into other sort of pursuits and industries that you feel that resonate more with. Don't like to use the word industry because it's like I would like to use the word gifts or skill sets. You can shift your skill set into a totally different direction. And I wake up these days and I'm just so excited to be alive, and it's a crazy world. But imagine working at a level where you can shift through frequency and opportunity, and you can just attract this endless, beautiful flow of abundance into your life.
Yeah.
In the time when this world is going through so much difficulty.
Yeah.
Imagine when we step through it into a time where we're back in a world where we can travel freely and do things like we used to. Can you imagine living in abundance in that world?
Yeah.
It'll be absolutely through the roof. Basically, and I can say that if I hadn't found these medicine plants, I would never have woken my soul, my emotional states up to get that kickstart going, to allow me to learn and understand. But wow, it's about how I learn, what I put into me. It's information that is going to heal me. It's people I connect with that are going to bring in awareness and information and wisdom into my life. It's practices and eating. But if I hadn't had the plants, they were like the
like the catalyst.
They were like the thing that just like blew me awake and
then
me.
you start to refine even environment that you want to be in, people you want to be around, because you start to realize everything's either adding or taking away from your space that you're creating, and living in those higher states creates your higher reality, and things just unfold. So everything in your life starts to shift, and it's such a powerful thing looking back, and you realize everything's changed, but it's so subtle but so powerful. It's incredible. I'm so excited about life, and I think we're all going through a bit of a collective dark night of the soul with everything in the world, and it's a lot of fear out there, but I think when we get through it, besides the fact that there'll be a lot of people needing to be in help and healed, and there will be a lot of good that'll come from it, I think, and being able to help and share this information and this kind of info is becoming more mainstream, which is great to see, and more people are realizing that the kind of pharmaceutical industries aren't always got your best interest at heart. So people are waking up to that, and it is a bit of a massive awakening going on, I feel. So it's cool, and I think it's a powerful journey.
It is.
I'm excited about the future. It's seeing what you've done since you've left the industry that we were in, and we were both in aviation, and what you've been able to create since then. It's just been so cool to see, knowing that it's possible, that the universe, once you take that step, it just will help you in the synchronicities and the people and the events, and it's just like life will conspire to help you.
Yeah, well, with what's going on in the world with coronavirus, how it's affected big industries like aviation and hospitality, travel, they literally are a fragment of what they used to be at the moment.
Yeah.
And all the people employed in those industries and the families who depend on them, people going through a lot of upheavals financially. It was wonderful to be able to have the skills that I'd been doing on myself, and yes, sharing with some people, but now I've took it to the next level to really help people who are going through really tough times, that they can actually help themselves, because they can find that shift, that to see that, but maybe that industry is not working anymore, but what you can do with the skills you have in this world, to be able to step into something different. And when things change and shift, maybe some people want to go back to doing what they were doing again, but to give them the confidence to be able to take on the sort of role of, figuring out new skills and being able to make a living, and to have their pride back, and have, some way of making a living in the world. Yeah.
It's such a big, crazy time we're living in, and it's quite a ride. But so if people are interested in microdosing, they definitely reach out and to me or you, and we can help them out. And I think there's so many other cool topics we want to chat about. So we're going to do a lot more conversation, a lot more cool content I see going forward, and I want to I'm learning a lot from you as I go. So looking forward to it, and I think people can expect a lot more good info coming out, and I'm going to work towards doing that as well. And really passionate about this whole field of life. It's amazing. So thanks for taking the time.
Thank you for your wonderful podcast.
Thanks
for everything you're doing to help people.
Thank you. If I had to think back a year ago, and small things like starting a podcast, who am I to start a podcast? But I took the step, and fear, I was petrified, and talking to people, and now I'm almost done 20 episodes, and the people that I've met along the way, and how my life has shifted just by stepping out of my comfort zone, and the shifts that have taken place, and the people, and the networking, and the connections, and the new skills, and the journeys, so just in one dimension with this podcast, my life has changed, and now I'm excited to take more and more steps out of my comfort zone, because it just becomes it's just crazy. It's so amazing what we are capable of when we start doing something, and that's like you said, we were chatting last night. It's just taking the action. Take a step, and you can learn anything and do anything. And it's just breaking that belief system that we get programmed with, and that's all it is. So thank you. Yeah,
Thank you.
let's definitely do another one soon.
Soon.
Thanks, Stuart.
Thank you, Darren.
Awesome.